Hey, I'm Slash, and you're watching Loudwire.
Everyone, it's Joe from Loudwire. No mystery who's sitting next to me here today. We've got Slash. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. Awesome.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So you got the new album, Slash featuring Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators, Living the Dream. Now, I want to go back to when you first hooked up with Myles. So your first solo album, you had a lot of different guest singers. Myles was one of them.
Right.
What struck you about Myles that made you go, that's the guy to take me forward from here on out?
It's sort of a long story. I mean, Myles was, I'd done the whole record and, worked with everybody that was on that record. And then I had 2 songs left over that during the entire making of the record, I could never figure who should sing these 2 songs. So, and then I'd been hearing a lot about Myles for years, but I'd never met him, and I wasn't even really familiar with his voice. But he had just recently been flown over to England to do this possible Zeppelin tour thing. And I said, well, maybe that guy, because he's got to be good. If Jimmy called him, he's got to be really good. And so I cold called him, and I said, I'm making this record with all these singers, and would you be interested in doing one? And he said, yeah. So I sent him some music, and a week later, I got an MP3 that was the song called Starlight that he wrote the words and the melody to the existing music that I sent him, and it was f***ing awesome, right? So I asked him if he wanted to do. I was putting together a tour, and I couldn't take all those different people, so I was like, who could sing all this material? And he was definitely the guy that was capable of doing it.
Now let's talk about the title, Living the Dream. It's not the name of any of the songs on the album, so it had to be chosen for a reason. And a lot of people could say, you lived the dream 30 years ago when you opened for Aerosmith on the Appetite for Destruction
I've been living
tour.
the dream, it's had its high points and low points, but my whole career, has been sort of doing what it is that turned me on when I was 14, right? Which is to be able to play guitar in a band, So, but that's the title was something that was just really just a sarcastic stab at politics as of current events.
A little tumultuous right now.
So that was really where that title came from.
So a little tongue in cheek,
Yeah,
but there's some
very
truth,
tongue-in-cheek,
of course, there
yeah.
to it. A couple songs I want to talk about here be My Antidote, Lost Inside the Girl, and Slow Grind. 30 years ago, probably would have had very different themes. But now it seems like you kind of flip the script on some of these ideas. Like, do you feel that you're kind of reconciling some things that you've done in the past, or kind of finishing that story?
Well, you're talking from a lyrical perspective, and that's 100% Myles. So, although I can relate to the lyrics because there's a lot in his description of events that have happened to him, or the way that he sees things that I totally have either experienced or that I can relate to. So it's great how that works, but it's really about where he's coming from. And musically, that's just sort of like shit that I think's cool that I come up with here and there. Might be very much influenced by my surroundings, but it's hard for me to specifically say what it is, because I'm writing on the run all the time. So
Now you're going back on this tour away from stadiums with Guns N' Roses. What do you feel about any kind of stress factor, or are you put more at ease by doing your own tours versus the giant machine that's Guns N' Roses?
Well, I mean, I've been touring with the Conspirators in pretty much every size venue possible since 2010. So
Stuff like the
I'm very
Troubadour all the way up to arenas and
smaller
festivals.
than the Troubadour in some cases, and then all the way up to the big festivals and so on. So I'm very comfortable doing whatever. But doing Guns N' Roses, that was something that I hadn't done in 22 years since the last show that we played together. When in 2016, when we first got together, it was 22 years ago from 2004. Or 1994, rather, sorry. So that was a new experience to go and headline in these massive places, but the enthusiasm for the band was such that it's sort of that potential anxiety just went away in the first 4 bars. So now going back to doing clubs and everything, I'm looking forward to get into sort of just a sweaty toe-to-toe kind of environment.
Now, you said your set list is going to deviate a little bit from a lot of the Guns N' Roses material that had been in past solo sets.
Right.
Just kind of got it out of your system a little bit, you'd mentioned. Do you feel that this is now kind of like the real arrival of the solo band, where you could leave that material behind and tour just on the stuff from 2010 on up?
I actually hadn't thought of it like that, but I mean, I mean, you know, that sort of puts a thing on it. You know, we're like, well, this is the right. But we are going to be focusing. We've got 3 albums worth of material, so we're just going to be focusing primarily on that. And there might be 1 or 2 gun songs and a Velvet Revolver song and a Snake Pit song, but you know, it's not going to be it's not going to be a major part of the set as it was, you know, since 2010 up until 2015. Mm-hmm. So that it's just going to be interesting to see where those songs lie with all our fans, and if, you know, like, you know, there's a couple of different songs that are sort of big hits for us at this point, and then there's new songs now that we'll see where those are, and, you know, see what the set really feels like. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited because I really don't know.